regardless of if you've ever raised funds for anything before, or if you're an old pro at it. I just had some things that I've done over the years that I felt might be helpful to pass on. So I think the first thing when you look at it, you think, how am I supposed to raise money? I've never asked anyone for money before. The first thing you need to do is have a list of people that you could ask. And the people you could ask really is everyone you know, everyone you have ever met. Um, start with relatives, coworkers, friends, move on to classmates, Facebook friends and acquaintances, anyone you know on social media, Instagram and so forth. Just start making a list. And um, after you've made the list, one of the first things I did is I just send out sort of a general post, but I make it personal to my child. Here's Emery. All my friends and relatives, anyone who follows me on social media knows who she is. And she has benefited from scholarships from the Down Syndrome Foundation. And even if you don't have a child or a family member who has benefited, you could say, they could benefit in the future. There are lots of there are programs that are funded through the foundation, just all the social gatherings and things that we do. Everything, even if your child's never received a scholarship, there are all sorts of other things you can sort of talk about that either have benefited your family member with Down syndrome or will in the future. For example, if you just have a baby and you haven't, done any of the programs yet, someday they can be involved in I Can Learn. They could get some sort of school scholarships, therapy scholarship. There's so many things available that we fund. So the first thing I do is I put something out there on social media and just say, here's Emery. She benefits through the programs of the foundation. I just keep it really short. I just say they do educational stuff, they provide scholarships, they help people in the community with Down syndrome and their families. And if you would like to help contribute to that, here is a link, and I put my personalized link right there in the email. I'm sorry, in the social media post that was assigned to me for my team. And that's one of the things. First you have to make your team, which we've sent out all sorts of links. But if you have any questions about creating a team, if you haven't created a fundraising team yet, you don't have to bowl. But if you can bowl, but you can just have a team to help raise funds. And then they give you a personalized link to your team, and you set a goal. I think the recommended goal is, in order to actually to bowl, is $500. I don't know if that's correct, but that's just the starting point. And what I do is I try to over the years I keep making my goal bigger, but I try to make it bigger than I think I could ever get, because as you near your goal, I think people feel less urgency to donate. But if you still have a goal out there, and it's my daughter's team, it's Emery's team, it's Emery's goal, it's to help her and her friends. I personalize it to her, and so we are really trying to get this goal for Emery, and I try to make it higher than I think I can actually raise. So people don't feel like, oh, well, they're close, they'll get it. I don't need to contribute this year. So create a team, create a goal that's a fundraising goal that's bigger than you actually think you could do. Make a list of everybody so put that general ask out there. But what I have found, I have a few people who do see the Facebook post, see the Instagram post, and they click on it, and they do contribute that way. But mostly, how I have um, really reached people is I send a personalized message to each individual person. I go through my list of text messages. Everyone that I have a text history with, list of texts, I go through and I just say, hey, um, this fundraiser is coming up. Emory has a big goal this year. If you feel so led, we would really appreciate a contribution. And I put the link right there to her team fundraising page in the text message. So super easy. They don't have to go search for anything. They don't have to, oh, I'll have to come back to that. They can click on it immediately, go to your fundraising page, make a little donation. They're done. So not only do I go through my texts, because I don't keep text history of everyone I know, everyone I'm in contact with. The second thing I use is Facebook Messenger. Over the years, I've messaged lots and lots of people on Facebook that I don't have a phone number for. So I don't text them necessarily, but we are connected on Facebook. We're friends on Facebook. And so I go in, and you can do this on Instagram too. Instagram has messaging as well, although I've not used that one. I've been on Facebook much longer, and most of my friends on Facebook are on Instagram or also on Facebook. So I just use the one and I send a personal message. Now this takes time, to write a personal message. I don't put a ton of detail personalized to each person because I am really trying to just get the message out. But if I think of something like, how are your kids? How did so and so do with that? How's your mom doing? And then Emery's doing a fundraiser right now. She has a big goal. Here's the link if you could donate. So an individual message to each person. And I'll say like on Facebook Messenger, that probably takes me a couple of hours, to write an individual message to each person. But I just carve out a chunk of time, and usually it's on our match day. I will say, look, I've got to spend a couple of hours today because it's match day, sending out these messages to people. And then the third one is I'll go through my email because there are some people that I email that aren't on social media, that I haven't used Messenger for, that I don't have a phone number for, but I have their email, coworkers and things like that. And I will send an individual message to each one of my coworkers. Hey, Emery's, part of the Down Syndrome Foundation, and we're raising money right now for all of our great programming. She has a big goal this year. Would you be interested in donating? And put the link to your personal donation page in there. So it's a lot of individual messages to each and every person that I know. And so here's the other thing. You might feel a little like, oh, I don't want to ask this person for money. I haven't talked to them in a while. This seems like really impersonal. Look, if they know you and they know you have a child with Down syndrome, that's all you sort of need, right? Is my child, it benefits from these programs. We're doing a fundraiser to help them and help families who have children with Down syndrome and family members with Down syndrome in our community. I try to not feel bad at all about asking people for money. If they think, oh, that's so rude, they'll just delete it, and move on. And if they're not going to give, they delete it and move on. I try not to make the decision for anyone as to whether that person will donate to my team or not. I'm not going to make the decision for them. I'm going to let them make that decision. So I have to give them the opportunity, or I'll never know if they'll donate or not. And I have been surprised. I have thought these people, this family is going through a hardship right now. There's no way. But you know what? They did. They donated. It's their decision. I don't want to make that decision for them. So, um, I try to I just let that be. if someone thinks, oh, she only asks me for money, well, whatever, I just try not to worry about it. Um, because the people who know Emery and they know my heart, for doing whatever I can for her to help her and everything. They know that this is important to our family. So um, I just, you got to sort of push that aside about what people will think if you ask them for money. So yeah, all of the individualized messages, put your link in every single message you send to anyone. And then the other thing I did this year, which I have never done in the past, it just struck me. I thought, there's a person I know gave me a couple $100 last year, and I haven't heard from them. Well, guess what? I don't text them. I don't have their phone number. Um, I only knew them through Facebook. And so I'm like, oh, I guess I haven't contacted this person yet. So I thought, who else have I forgotten, who I haven't contacted individually, who may have given in the past. And I went through all of my past bowl-a-thons, which I guess I've probably done 5. Emery's 7 now. I don't think I did the first year, but so there were 5 previous to this year. And I was able to find each one of my prior teams because I still had the link to my team fundraising page. And I could see every single individual who had given in the past. So then I could go back to those people and say, thank you so much for your prior support or your support in years past. Would you be willing to give again this year? Or something along those lines. We've always been really grateful for your past giving and look forward to a donation again this year. So that gave me a whole nother list of people that I hadn't heard back from yet. To say, oh, I do you want to give again? You've given before, and they just hadn't seen my posts or I hadn't contacted them, so they didn't know that I was fundraising again this year. So I think that the individual contact is really the biggest thing. Sending, people, like I said, people see stuff on social media, but they don't necessarily, especially with all the advertising and algorithms and stuff now, you don't know who's seeing your posts or if they ever will. So I try to contact every single person individually. And then when someone gives, you get a notification in your email every single time someone makes a donation to your team. And when someone made a donation to their team, I, number one, sent them a personal thank you if I had their email, text, whatever, and also acknowledge them on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram. I'd say, I put a picture of Emery and say, thanks so much, so and so, for contributing to my team. Your contribution makes a difference to my future. And sometimes Facebook allowed me to tag people. Instagram, I didn't really tag. I couldn't figure out that one's newer to me. So I didn't really tag anyone there. But sometimes Facebook didn't allow me to tag people because some people have that blocked. They don't want to be tagged and stuff. But whenever I could, I at least put the person's name there, even if they might not see it, because they might see it. So I tried to make sure to thank every single person publicly in social media, in the public sphere somehow, and thanking them personally as well. And people who gave like big donations, I would call them, and say, hey, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. So the acknowledgement, the contact. Oh, the other thing is, someone might see my text and they're in a hurry, and they're right, and it just gets buried and they totally forget about it. It's okay to contact people more than once. Don't feel like you're nagging them. There's probably, they might have gotten busy, especially, I mean, people who have given in the past, and you're like, wow, that's strange. I would assume this person would give again because they follow Emery's life and they really love her and I know they want to support her. It takes multiple touches, they say. I don't know if sometimes it's like 7 or 8. I don't remember the number. before someone will commit sometimes. So I generally, when I start Emery's team, I'll put a post out there, just general, on social media and say, hey, Emery has a bowling team this year. She's trying to raise money for the foundation, which provides all of these services and scholarships for people with Down syndrome. And so that's sort of like touch one. Touch two is on match day. I always take the time that day to individually contact every single person I know. And then if I miss some people, like this year, I went back and looked through all of my prior givers and went and said the next day I contacted them, and I hit my goal and I raised it a couple $1,000s and I hit the goal again. So now I don't know because I need to make my goal bigger, because I know there was a specific person who's like, I'm going to make her hit her goal, and gave me, a very odd number because that like made the goal. So then I'm like, yay, you made the goal. But then I want to make the goal bigger, but I feel sort of bad because that person was like really proud of themselves for, making Emory reachable. But I will continue to contact people, particularly people who have given in the past, who haven't yet this year. I will contact them again, even though match day has passed, and say, look, there's still time. We could still use your help. The foundation overall has like a much bigger goal to help more people. There are more and more people, um, who are benefiting from our services and joining our community. So I will contact them again. So I do like three, contacts for people that I think might give or might not give. For people that I know, I just contact everyone. So.